Hey, what's up guys? I'm C Love. In the last video, I showed you how to put together these super simple desktop Christmas trees. With the right setup, these assemble quickly and are sure to be an awesome gift or a hot seller in the right market. Up next is a ground level deck rebuild. For this video, I'll be rewinding more than 11 years to show you just how painfully inexperienced I was when I built this the first time. We all have to get started somewhere though, so if this is your first time and you find this video helpful, please let me know in the comments section down below. Come on. Let's take a look. As you can see, this existing deck is roughly 14.5 feet long by 6.5 feet wide. The new deck will be a little bit shorter and infinitely stronger. I'm going to let the disassembly play for a little bit so you can see several things here. First, what's left of the frame is still in somewhat acceptable shape. It wasn't just rotting and falling apart. If you need to, you may be able to replace the rotten deck boards to get a little more life out of your current deck before you spend the time and effort to replace it. Second, you can tell I'm fighting with these screws just a little bit. If the deck you are replacing has been there for some years, be prepared for things to not go as smoothly as you hope they will. I'm taking the time to knock all the screws out so that I don't hurt myself or someone else later when I'm handling these boards again. Third, don't paint your deck with house paint. The hot and cold of the seasons causes the paint to expand and contract and will form cracks that enable water to rest in. This will greatly increase the speed of your deck boards rotting and will cause you more problems than it is likely worth. Make sure to stick to an outdoor deck or water seal to protect your new investment from the sun and elements. For the ease of handling everything later, I'll cut the boards down, all to about the same length, and make a neat pile. I'll make sure to include this clip of broski in there with me so everyone can see that he actually helped too. I'll be ready to get started on the new one, but not before I struggle with the camera for a moment. Per the homeowner's request, we're going to repeatedly smash the easy button on this project to hopefully make it go more quickly. We aren't going to be doing any kind of footings or tie into the foundation at all. I'll just level the ground as best I can and throw some bricks under there like the last one and let gravity do its thing. I'll be landlocked on 3 sides, so once everything's put together, it won't be able to move very much anyways. Before I start cutting anything, I'm going to take the time to mark a line where I want the top and bottom of my frame boards to be. This will prove to be especially helpful while I'm setting the perimeter of the new deck and will ensure the height will end up exactly where I want it to be. I would highly recommend completing this step before you get started building. You can probably tell, but the ground is somewhat not level, so I'll have spaces that are different lengths under the joists. This is what the different size bricks I have will be for. I'll just throw these babies under the new frame and adjust them as needed so that I end up at all level at the end. Version 1 had 2x4s for the frame and 2x6s for the surface. Version 2 will be 2x6s for both the frame and the surface using pressure treated lumber. I stacked all the 12-footers neatly and noticed that they were all almost exactly a ½ inch over, so I decided to leave them. This was much easier than trying to cut that tiny little ½ inch off of every single deck board and 2 of the frame boards. While I wish there were actually 2 of me here, this is just a careful video edit showing me pre-measuring and marking the spacing for the joists. The joists run perpendicular to the surface boards, and for this build will be 75 inches in length, making the total width of this deck 78 inches. Hindsight is 20/20, and looking back, I probably should have pre-drilled all of the holes first. This would have been especially helpful since I was using batteries for my drills that I bought to build this deck the first time. They were pretty much out of there by then, as I was only able to drill 4 or 5 holes or screws before I had to put the battery back on the charger and replace it with the one that I had just put on there. I've since replaced them with a much better brushless set you'll see in future videos, and I'll make sure to link them in the written description below. I've been going pretty full speed this whole time, so I'll slow it down for a moment so you can see what it actually looks like while I'm doing this. Shortly, you'll hear my battery giving up on me, letting me know it's time to change again. Replacing my batteries as needed, I'll finish attaching the joist to this sideboard and carefully move it close to in place. I'm working by myself, so I'm doing the best I can. If you're watching this and have any recommendations for me or other viewers, please leave a comment down below. I'll make sure to reply as quickly as I can. On to the other side. Again, I probably should have pre-drilled all the holes first, but I think I may have just been standing around waiting for batteries to charge at that point. I'll get everything secured together with 3 3-inch screws at each junction and take a slow walk around to show you that the joints are tight. You don't want any gaps between the joists and sideboards at all if you can avoid it. Making sure that your frame is as solid as possible is critical to ensuring the longevity of your new investment. On screen, I'll put an arrow where I noticed that one of the joists cracked almost all the way through. This board definitely wasn't like this when I put it in place, and I'm not totally sure how it happened. Rather than replacing that board, I'll use one of my offcuts and secure it to this joist to reinforce it. I'll show you that after some pictures of the frame and a heavy application of mosquito repellent spray. Here is when I discovered the problem, and I'm going to walk you over there to show you what it looks like. You can see it busted right on that knot, and that is not cool. The board I used to reinforce it is laying on the ground there, and you'll see what it looks like once I got done with that part. Up next is making sure the frame is square. We need to thank our great buddy Pythagoras for this mathematical equation to make sure that this is true. It's called a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Referencing the same point on the inside of your junction at one of the corners, measure 3 feet on one side and 4 feet on the other. Run your tape measure between those 2 points and you should be right at 5 feet. If you aren't, you're building a diamond and you're going to be pretty upset once you start weighing your deck boards. Make the necessary adjustments to get this to 5 feet and you will be on to the next step. That is going to be making sure that your frame is level. I'm using a 4-foot level for this step and it can take a little while depending on your situation. This is another critical step to ensuring the longevity of your new deck though. I'll use all the bricks from before to support this new build as best I can. Make sure that your boards are clean of any dirt or sawdust before you place your level on there so you don't get an inaccurate reading. This frame may be the tiniest bit high on the side closest to the street, but it passes this non-code inspection, so we are clear to keep building. At this point, it's probably best to go ahead and put a couple in the ice chest. This next part shouldn't take too long, and you're going to want them to be cold when you get done. I'll start weighing the deck boards on the outside closest to the sidewalk. If I get to the end and have an uneven gap, and I will, I want it to be where people won't notice it as much. I'll use the best looking boards on the outside, so hopefully I won't have to fight with them. Make sure to use a carpenter's pencil or a speed square in between your boards to keep your spacing consistent throughout. Of course, I will run into a problem pretty quickly here. If you have a board that has a slight bow in it that will make for uneven spacing, use an offcut to gain more leverage and pry that board into place before you pre-drill your holes and secure it down. Just in case you don't understand that, I'm going to illustrate for you on screen. While I'm here, I want to wish you a happy birthday or anniversary if you've got one of those today. I sure appreciate you taking the time to stop by and support this channel. If you need any advice on something you are building, please feel free to reach out and I'll do the best I can to help you. If I can't, I'll make sure and send you in the right direction. I'm glad to assist and collaborate whenever possible. Back to it, you can see that I have the speed square in between my boards and an offcut acting as a pry bar. I'll position the board where I want it to be and then pre-drill the holes. Then I'll set the screws in the holes so that it's easier to set them all at once instead of fighting them one by one. After that, I'll use some scraps to make a platform for the iPad so I can video from up here. I'll set it to record and make sure the orientation is off just a little bit. Once I zoom through securing down all the 2x6 deck boards, I'll get to the end where the gap is exactly the width of a 2x8. I'll make a quick trip to the Big Orange Home Improvement store where I'll pick up the last piece for this build. One 12-foot pressure-treated 2x8 in October of 2022 was $14.98 plus tax. Remember that for later. We're getting pretty close to my favorite part of this project, and that's going to be the time when I can say that I'm done. Here's what the new one looks like, and I'll give you some close-ups of the edges so you can see for yourself that this one turned out pretty nice. I absolutely cannot emphasize enough how solid this new deck is. It really feels like I'm walking on concrete. I've learned a lot since I built this the first time, and hopefully I was able to teach you a thing or two also. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to share this with a friend or a family member and come back to see me soon. If you follow my channel closely, you know there was a longer than usual amount of time in between my posts this time. I'm back into the swing of things now though, so I'll keep the good stuff coming.